welcome everyone to this grounded, gentle practice in yoga. I'm going to recommend that you have a block handy just to start and take that block more for a sitting position. We're going to go through three simple and one advanced sitting positions. Vajrasana is our very first seat here, and this can be a little tight for a lot of people in the legs, sometimes on the knees as well. So the block, when you sit up on a block, you just give a little more space for that sit bone to really kind of root down. Some people do like to come up onto the toes. I'm not going to say no to this, but you can feel how this is a lot more of a stretch. If you are in Vajrasana, I do feel definitely those straight legs are probably the best. And then as we move on to our classic Sukhasana, I think we all learned this in kindergarten, cross applesauce. You can feel how one leg will usually stack up. So if one leg is below, it's harder to pull that leg up, versus if one leg is on top, it's easier to pull that leg up. And this is really good to know if we get into those gentle twists. But you can also have the legs halfway stacked. You can also have legs halfway up here. If one leg is a little tight, don't feel as though you need to be in this perfect cross form. Dandasana is the one I do not recommend sitting on a block with. And it's because when we actually sit with our legs long in Dandasana, the knees tend to fall. So you can imagine if my hips are up, my knees might hyperextend down. However, taking a block either in the lowest form or even in that medium form can be really nice. Ellen kicked my butt this last Wednesday in 2 conditioning classes, so I am feeling it in my legs. This is really comfortable. Our last one, and Padmasana, is our lotus pose. And lotus pose is probably the hardest in a seated position. A lot of people will only take half lotus pose. So much like our Sukhasana, you can take one foot, and a lot of people will usually hug that leg in as you bring the foot up entirely to the thigh, and your pads are going to face up towards you. So the pad of the foot is actually facing up. Making sure that leg is nice and comfortable. If you do go into both feet again, making sure that you feel comfortable, that the feet are active here. So wherever you are in your desired seat, from more simple to complex, be wherever you are, sitting here in this room, maybe around the world. Settle into your seat, rooting down. Let your breath come in all the way down to that pelvic floor. We're going to go through 3 simple mudras here. Dhyana is going to be our receiving mudra. So taking your receptive hand, traditionally this is your left hand, but whichever hand you feel is more receiving. So if you're left-handed, it might be your right hand. You're going to take that receptive hand like a little bowl sitting in front of you, and your dominant hand is going to go on top. And then you're just going to connect those thumb points. Breathing here, just letting the hands rest, maybe rolling the shoulders back. If you can think of the shape that the hands make here, this is a circle. Circles are receptive. You might have taken this mudra when you were in deep thought about somebody's words. This is a great receptive mudra. So if you're just trying to tune in with the universe, or just tune in with yourself, this is a beautiful mudra to take. From Dhyana to Janana, more meditative, we're going to take the forefinger and we're going to take the thumb together. The rest of the 3 digits, middle ring and pinky, are going to push out. We're going to rest them down, palms up, just on the thighs. Of course, hands can be down, hands can be raised for different variations of this mudra, but the traditional just sitting here in contemplation. So we have this receptive form, this circle, but we also have this progressive form that's shooting out. This is when we have a lot of conversation in the mind. So if you have a lot of chit chat going on in the head, maybe this mudra is more appropriate. And let's just say you are overwhelmed with emotion. A lot of people will have that laundry list going on in their head. This next mudra is beautiful just for the fact that you can make a laundry list in your head. Hands together, just at the chest, Atmanjali. This is a mudra of gratitude. So just being grateful, if you're not trying to contemplate that chit-chat in the mind, or if you're not trying to be overly receptive, you just feel this pouring out of love. This is a beautiful mudra just to have. Any one of these three mudras is great to take wherever you are. The mudra I'm going to focus on today is Kali mudra. So taking the hands together, crossing all of the fingers except for the index finger. This index finger is a symbol of Vayu, or air, and wherever the hands are, just holding them as close up to the chest as comfortable. Sometimes this can be a little tight on the wrists. Crossing fingers, maybe whichever way feels comfortable to you. The receptive hand is usually on the bottom again. This idea of Kali is to destroy the ego, to let go of expectations, to be present. Breathe here. Preferably breathing through the nose so that the breath is conditioned going into the body. And again, if any other mudra feels good to take, please find that. Settling into a square breath here, or just letting your breath flow. We're going to imagine the breath coming up the receptive, preferably left side of our body, filling up. We'll hold the breath at the top just for an equal time, and then we'll release the breath down the more dominant or preferably right side of the body, and then we'll be empty for an equal amount of time. We'll reverse that breath up that dominant side of the body, hold it at the top, and again using that imagination to be receptive, to be empty. Again, that breath comes up the more receptive side of the body. The breath holds at the top. The breath releases down that dominant. And the breath is empty for just a moment. Again, up the dominant side. Holding. Releasing. Being empty. If you're going a little faster or slower, good. You're following your breath. Just use that imagination up the receptive side. That breath is part of your body holding up at the top. That breath is releasing and grounding back down. That breath is empty. Again, up that dominant side. Holding at the top. Releasing and empty. We'll go 2 more rounds on each side, no narration. settling into that space, that time, that breath, that form, opening the eyes. We'll go through drishti practice here just with our eyes. So as that breath and air speeds up, we feel heat, we feel agni and fire. Chin level and just with the eyes. Look up and look down. Look either side to the opposite side. Breathing with your breath through the nose. You can. Keeping those eyes stretching out the nervous system through the mind. Those nerves in the eyes wrap around and through the brain, connecting into that nervous system throughout the entire body. This simple linear concept of start and finish, always passing through that center form, breathing through the nose without judgment of the breath. As we go to the side, we reverse in the opposite direction, still in a linear path, always crossing through that center form. So whichever side to side, these dualities of earth and sky. This is what linear forms teach us. They help us see black and white, up and down. While we may judge good and bad, the idea of being in the center of that observation, this is where everything always crosses. And last in this linear form, stretching those eyes out. We'll meet up at the top and full circles, clockwise or counterclockwise, does not matter. Without fail, my head always wants to move. If it does, it's okay. If your body needs to wiggle, if you've got an itch, it is okay. This is a practice. Let your body do what it needs to do, and then bring the attention back to the eyes, just stretching out the nervous system by itself, through those eyes, through that beautiful Agni fire, meeting at the top, reversing in the opposite direction. Unlike that linear path, the cyclical is continual, just like your breath may start and finish. It is constantly flowing. Breathe through the nose, stretching out past that simple cell phone or television screen, taking in all of existence here. Nice. As we meet at the top here, we'll take the palms of our hands and very gently press the brow bone up into the forehead. We're not really pushing onto the eyes themselves, but just all of those beautiful muscles around the eye opening, softening maybe up into the forehead, the hairline, out and through the temple. Maybe you just want to hold in an area with soft, loving support from the hands here. Opening up that sight here. It is not uncommon to get a little tired during that drishti practice, so let's let that fire condense and cool as we find tabletop. So in our tabletop form here, we're going to have our hands below our shoulders. We're going to have our knees below our hips. Options for the hands, of course, if you have multiple blocks. Some people like one hand on a block or both hands. With the hands, sometimes you can take the knuckles down. Just make sure the thumbs are on the outside. As we find where our hand position is, try not to have those elbows hyperextended. Try to have a little micro bend, as though you've got shocks here. You'll notice that micro bend allows the shoulders to really broaden here. We don't want to push in through the chest, and we don't want to drop entirely. When we take a deep breath through our belly here, as it rises up into the chest, you can feel that expansion of the clavica. A nice open chest is what we want here. Rooting through those hasta bandhas, the hands. Let's go down to the padas, the feet. Maybe your toes are up, that's okay, but if you can, for support in the knees, push through the tops of your feet. The feet are going to be in line with the shins. You'll notice as you push down through the tops of the feet, it takes pressure off of the knees. So this is just a nice form to be active here. We're going to go through a version of sun salutation here. And we're going to go through it all in tabletop. So as we breathe in, we're going to drop our belly, we're going to gaze up, stick out that tailbone. As we breathe out, we're going to drop down into child's pose. Long spine, head in front of us, tailbone behind us. As we breathe in, we're going to slide our hands, maybe even forearms along the floor, sitting up onto those knees. That full breath is going to bring us up and around. As we breathe out, hands come down. Try to keep those elbows in as the hands come down to the chest. As we breathe in, hands come back down to the floor, maybe even forearms, as we find that nice drop in the belly, head raised up, in breath. As we breathe out, cat, tuck the tailbone, tuck the chin, really exaggerate. That is a full round here. Follow your breath. Breathe in. Make this a dance with your spine. Breathe out, flowing down if you're going faster or slower. Your breath, your body. As we breathe in, we slide slowly up, rising up, surrounding our beautiful form, and then honoring it, breathing down in through that center form. As we slide forward again, we're going to very gently move along the floor here. We're going to come drop that belly. As we breathe out, we're going to push. Beautiful. Follow that breath. As we breathe in, another belly drop. As we breathe out, coming down, you can again take any form to the forearms. Is always a nice variation. As we slide up, nice breathing, that beautiful prana, spirit around us. As we breathe down to heart. And then as we again breathe in, we're going to come forward. It's going to be the last round with narration. So as we breathe out, we finish up here. 2 more. I will only lead with my breath. Beautiful. Settling into our last round here. We're going to find a seated position again. If you would like to be on a block, you can. If you feel that you can go a little deeper just onto the mat, you are going to get a little more out of this stretch. And again, if you need to, you can always half sit. Just know that when you're working one side to the other side, it's good to kind of switch up. Sitting in through here as we settle down from that water settles into earth. So thinking of our spine, the Sushumna Nadi, as this staff. And if you think of Hermes' staff or the double helix, and the way those 2 alchemical snakes just spiral up around it, we're going to focus on that staff so that energy, that beautiful Kundalini, can easily balance where it needs to. One side might feel stronger than the other. Settling down, rolling the shoulders back, whatever seat, again, feels appropriate for you. Nice open chest. We're going to reach down to the sides of the mat with our hands. And if you can, with the hands, externally rotate them, thumbs up and then back. If your elbows, again, are hyperextending, soften those elbows. But this will really open up that breath, breathing deep down into the belly, up into the chest. Maybe you want to wiggle or sit a little different. You can arrange as you need to. But on an in-breath, one hand is going to reach down and the opposite hand is going to come up and around, just gently grabbing onto the head here. And no pulling, just the weight of the hand is going to bring that head down, ear to shoulder. Again, we don't want to pull here, we want this to be gentle. If you find your head is collapsing forward, roll those shoulders, maybe even look up with the eyes. Breathe. You're going to hang out here for a couple of breaths. Maybe you're feeling that stretch in through the neck, maybe down through the arms, maybe even through that externally rotated thumb. Dropping this form gently. Breathe 2. Breathe 1. And on an in-breath, we're going to take that hand back around to the other side of our head, and just with the intention of pushing the head back up. It doesn't physically do a lot, replacing the hand, but just that intention makes a difference. Keeping that hand open, if we can, we're going to breathe in the opposite hand up and around. Gently with just the weight, breathe out and let that ear fall down. And one side may not feel identical to the other. That's the point of observing. Ida and Pingala, moon and sun, Shakti and Shiva, giving and receiving. Breathe. Keeping that nice forward open chest. Maybe gazing up with the eyes can help. 1 or 2 more breaths here. And again, with intention, we're going to take that hand back around. We're going to very gently move that head back up. Beautiful. Taking those hands back down. If you want hands on the lap, you can. If you want hands beside you, again, make sure that this is comfortable, but we want those shoulders open wherever we are. We're going to drop our chin to chest on an out breath. So we're just going to take a couple breaths here, feeling that chin to chest. Maybe your shoulders want to roll forward. Keep those shoulders up, shoulder blades in your back pockets. Nice breath 2 here. Nice breath 1. On an in-breath, we're going to roll one ear just across to the shoulder. Breathing out again through center, chin to chest. Breathing the opposite ear to shoulder. Breathing out. Follow your breath if you're going faster or slower. Good. I am just the instruction manual. Your breath is your teacher. Continuing that roll with your breath. Good on each side. Maybe once the ear comes to one side, we're going to continue that breath. Head back in a full head roll. Breathing out again, chin to chest. If that full head roll is too much, you can always take the head just through that center line. It doesn't have to go all the way back, but we are trying to make full circles. 2 on each side. So once we've hit the other side, again, breathing out through the center, breathing in through the side. Maybe you do a full head roll, breathing out chin to chest. Maybe you just do that half head roll where the ear comes to shoulder and then up through center. Again, breathing out, down, chest. We're going to very gently come back up. We're going to go into gentle Sukhasana. Pranita Sukhasana, gentle twist. So if you want to, you can stay in the cross-cross applesauce. You can come to your Vajrasana. Or the deeper form here is we're going to take Tadasana, legs out. One leg is going to come up and cross onto the other side. And you're just going to hug in. Now, if you are in your cross-cross applesauce, remember, it would be whichever leg is on top is what you're hugging in. And if you're just in that staff pose, or if you're in just the gentle pillar pose, this, of course, is not going to matter. So wherever we are, we can stay here. We're going to hug in that knee to the chest, and we're going to sit up straight, really connecting into the tailbone, holding down. Follow your breath into that belly, into that pelvic floor space. Feel it rise up through the chest, the intercostals, maybe the shoulders, and I love to call that clavicle space our fish gills. You almost feel that flow of water. So now that we feel that nice, beautiful twist here, we're going to avoid the knee as we twist towards whatever raised leg we have. And again, variations may even just be foot in front of you. We're going to twist from the core, just our Mula Bandha to Uddiyana, that diaphragm space. And maybe you're using your hand against the thigh, maybe you're using your hand on the floor behind you, but just the belly. Breathe here. On your next exhalation, twist through the shoulders, turning the whole spine a little more. If you notice your grounded feet are pointing, maybe pull the toes up towards your knee a little bit more of a dorsal flex. You feel that beautiful full extension through the body. Lastly, breathing out, turning the entire head. Follow your breath. If your body is collapsing a little, maybe come out a little. Find your breath filling you up. And on the out breath, keep that length in the spine. Again, your variations where it feels good, your body, your breath. As long as your breath is hanging out with you, you're just where you need to be. Breathe 2. One more breath here. And as we untwist, we're going to do head first. Then we're going to bring shoulders back in line with intention, keeping that length in the spine as we come the full way around. Realign back down wherever you are. Whatever version you did on one side, try to do that same version on the other, but, both sides of the body, they're more like cousins than siblings. So again, if you feel a little tighter on one, you always can. But we're going to hug into that leg first. Maybe you feel the belly really engaging with the thigh as you round forward. As you root down, that's where the breath sets you up. Breathe here, 2 maybe breaths. Maybe you just stayed here. Maybe this just feels good. And then when you're ready on an out breath, we're only going to move through that tailbone, through the lower ribs, that mula through Uddiyana to fly upwards. So we're bringing that breath and that attention up just through that belly space. Trying to avoid pressure on the knee, of course, thigh, calf, floor. These are all beautiful places. When you're ready, maybe working up a little bit more into that Jalandhara, that throat space. That chest through the shoulders. Breathe. As long as you're keeping that spine long, that crown of the head is reaching up on an out breath, maybe you turn to look behind you a little more. Again, if any point is a little too much or you feel the spine collapsing, come back. Let your breath hold your hand. Let your breath light that way for the form. Maybe 2 more breaths here. When you're ready, on an out breath, turning that head back in line as though it's looking forward with the chest. Then the chest comes forward, and then the belly unwinds entirely. So readjust your seat if needed, but we're going to stay seated here, and we're going to go through what are 3 of my favorite morning poses. When you get out of bed, and you are still in your bed, go to the side of your bed. Let your feet dangle off. Maybe they touch the floor. That's okay. Wherever you are, we're going to stay in that nice kind of, we just woke up stretch. We're going to go through these very simple motions. It takes 5 minutes. Do this every morning. You will see some beautiful effects. The first one is as we breathe in, we go through this yin breath. We're going to open up the body, look up, and just welcome in the universe. As we breathe out, we're going to hug the universe, and we're just going to say thank you. And as we breathe in, we're going to open up again because there's so much universe to embrace. As we breathe out, we're going to close back down, maybe switching up the arm grip. We're going to say thank you again. Follow your breath. If you're going a little faster or slower than my exaggeration here, good. Breathe. Gonna go about 4 more rounds on each side. Listen to your breath. Feel your body. Connect with the world. Maybe a couple more rounds. So this beautiful process is usually referred to as a yin breath. Nice flow, opening up wherever we are, hands to our side. Next one is going to be a full spinal movement. So if you are on a block, you might not feel this as much as if you were sitting on your bed, tushy to the cushion. We're gonna breathe in one arm, and we're gonna slide the other arm down. Maybe we come down to the forearm. It's okay if you don't come all the way down, but that nice in-breath and full movement, we're gonna breathe out through center, and again, we're gonna breathe in through the opposite side. This nice flow is a full movement of the spine, breathing fully. Let your breath move you, keeping the head up. It's very easy to collapse forward here, maybe gazing up with the eyes. If you want to at any time, you can close the eyes and really feel the movements inside of the body. But gazing forward, if not slightly up with the eyes, can really help to lift our intention of where the body is moving, much like throwing a baseball. We point, we look, and then we throw. So we think, we look, and then we move in yoga. Breathe maybe a couple more on each side. When you're ready, just coming back to center. So we've had this nice exaggeration forward and backwards. We've had this nice exaggeration side to side. This last one is just a twist. And you can have your hands supported in front of you, just holding the hands. You can have your hands fingertip, just that index finger to thumb, I should say. Or if you want to go a little deeper, raise the shoulders up and back as though you have this tabletop in front of you. And again, you can still support the hands. But we're going to breathe into one side. And we're going to breathe out through the center. Breathe into the other side. Keeping that crown of the head high. It's really amazing the way as we breathe through here, sometimes we want to collapse the spine as we twist. This is the nice part about the breath coming in on each side. It lengthens up. So let your breath be those strings to your body. That's that marionette. Breathe out through the center. In through the side. Nice intentional movements here. Your breath is guiding the form, and you are telling the breath how to do this. You are the conductor of this beautiful wind instrument. Maybe one or two more on each side, wherever you are. Very gently coming back to center. I love you. We're going to come to a reclined position here, taking those legs out in front of you. Maybe you want to hug your knees as you come down. Very gently rolling back. And we're going to go through a warrior 2 position, as well as our warrior 3 position, as well as a Dandasana. So with the legs here, before we really exaggerate into the legs, We're going to make sure our spine feels nice and comfortable. From the tailbone, maybe you do a little pelvic tilt up, maybe you push the tailbone down, bring that pelvic up, back down. Engage with the shoulders. How we engage with the shoulders is we feel the hands on the floor beside us. We feel the forearms, we feel the upper arm, and then, of course, there are the shoulders. So push in with the shoulders, relax them. Push down with the shoulders, relax them, so that your spine is long and loose here. We're going to take one leg up, bent towards us, so that knee comes to chest. And we're just going to hold that knee in towards our chest here. The other leg is going to go long down to the floor. And we're going to really push through the heel here. So you might want to point the toes in the beginning. That's okay. But try to dorsal flex that foot, toes up towards the knee. And then as we settle into the hips here, when you do your warrior two, your Virabhadrasana 2, it's always from the hips. We stretch out through the legs. We, of course, rise through the crown of the head, but keep those hips level. So holding the back of the thigh of the knee that is up towards you, start to elongate that lifted leg towards the ceiling. Keep that foot dorsal flexed here. Find your breath. It's so easy to just do everything in one movement. Let your breath move you. Now, you might notice that bend in the raised knee. It's okay. But as we push that foot higher up, we, of course, are trying to keep that leg long. You can hold the back of the thigh here. Keep those feet dorsal flexed. So now imagine that we were standing on the floor on this raised foot. Imagine we were just flipped upside down and the hips are square. This is going to change your warrior two from now on. Feeling that beautiful form. That grounded leg can be softly bent in the knee. It's okay. The idea is those square hips, and we root through one foot. We root through the other foot. We elongate through the spine. Breathing, maybe supporting that leg is where you want to be. Maybe your hands on the floor. One or two more breaths. Now very gently, holding the thigh of that raised leg, we're going to bring the other leg up to meet it. Maybe knee comes up first, then maybe foot comes up to meet. And you can hold those thighs to start. I think you just got to give the legs a hug and then bring them back out. Notice how your hips may have lifted. Glue the hips back down. Keep those legs nice and as long as they are comfortable. Don't force discomfort. Stretch, maybe. Effort, maybe. Discomfort, never. Dorsal flexing the feet. If you're holding the thighs, maybe the hands come down beside you. Push down with the hands. Push down with the shoulders. Long spine here. Breathe. This is our Dandasana. Just from a reclined position. Breathe through the nose. Lots of effort here. Breathe two. Breathe one. Now we're going to hold the opposite leg and gently bending that grounded or our new grounded leg to the floor. So everything we did on one side, we're going to do on the other. You can hug that leg in to begin as you maybe ground that leg down. Everything we did on one side, we're doing the same on the other. So find your breath. Maybe hands to thigh as you elongate, pushing through the heels. You should be getting a little bit more of a workout here. Beautiful. You've got quiver zone going in the leg. Breathe. Maybe the hands come beside you. You're pushing through that heel in both feet, up and along the floor, and the crown of the head is rising in front of you. Breathe two. Breathe one. Nice. Nice. Now taking those knees up to the chest, both of them, and just giving them a beautiful hug. We're going to rock along the spine, maybe side to side, maybe back and forth, just to start here. And then if you can, rock up to seated again. Breathe 2, breathe 1. Finding yourself in a seated position, we're going to go through our pigeon pose. And as we come through pigeon, we are going to start with deer. So one leg's going to come up beside you. You can maybe hug in that knee. The other leg is going to come along the floor. Feet are going to be kind of together here. You're going to lean towards that grounded knee, and you can support the body up. As that raised knee is going to come to your side. So you've got this nice, almost half of a square made between the two shins. Dorsal flex those feet, plantar flex those feet. Feel what this feels like. You can come all the way down to the forearm if this feels good. Finding nice form here. And just that gentle twist maybe to the floor, chest to the floor. As we go deeper here, we're going to very gently push the body up, and as we push the body up, you're going to get a lot more open. So that bent leg that is on what we would say our top hip is going to slowly come behind us. You can lean forward. Your front leg can come all the way up into the center if need be, and you're just going to rotate into your pigeon. Maybe you come up onto your leg. As you start to shoot that leg further and further back, you're going to feel a little more ground. Maybe you want that front leg up. Last option is a block for support underneath that raised thigh. This is a beautiful just option. You do not have to take this. If you want that nice depth, you of course can take that depth. If you want that leg crossed in front of you entirely, if you want no block here, you have two variations where it feels good for you, maybe flowing between the two. You can come down to humble, breathe here, or if you want to come up to exalt, we lift. And maybe your hands support you in the beginning as long as you can keep those hips high, pushing in through the top of that foot so that we again try to soften any pressure on the knee. You can even lift. Now this is the deepest form. If you want to try this and this is too much on your back, you can always use a block and support. And you can also breathe out through your humble. And you can breathe in through your exalt. So this can be hatha in just forcing where it feels good for you. Or it can be a vinyasa. Your choice, your body. Where do you want to be right now? Find your breath. If you are moving, even in a held pose, good. That means you're listening to that kundalini in your body. Beautiful. Breathe 2. Breathe 1. We're going to come right back through that deer pose. We're going to come back down, and we're just going to take the legs out in front of us. So this nice windmill, we're already familiar on one side. Wiggle out if you need, definitely. And as we find the other side, again, leaning into the body. There's a reason why you got all these Romans looking like this in those beautiful mosaics. It feels good. This is a beautiful, comfortable pose. But as we start to enter it with more intention, we're aware of what the feet are doing. Are the feet dorsal flexing? Are the feet plantar flexing? You're moving with intention. As you start to maybe twist the chest to the floor, you feel a deeper form. Find your breath. And as we start to raise up and enter into our classic pigeon, maybe you stay low as you start to shift that back leg behind you. Nothing should be a snap. Everything should be a flow here. We're settling into form, inch by inch, step by step. Finding those feet. Maybe your feet have to start a little more gentle. Maybe you want to enter with support. And keeping that block underneath the thigh can really help. Shin is a deeper stretch. Once we feel nice and supported, maybe you don't have support. That grounded leg, humble where it feels good. Beautiful. Again, if you would like to make this more of a flow, you can breathe in any variation you like. If you are a little tight in the back, or if you feel a little too much in the legs, you can always support as you go into exalt. Maybe you flow, breathing out through humble. Maybe you breathe in through just a gentle exalt. Find your breath in the form. Where is your breath going? Is it going into the hip? Is it going into the back? Is it going into your glutes? Your breath is literally exploring your body right now. Beautiful. Very gently coming out. Maybe you come out by unwinding through that deer. However you come out, we're going to find the floor again, maybe rolling through our back. As we find that floor, we're going to roll to our bellies. Rolling is a very complicated thing for children. So understanding how rolling really works as we grow up, we take it for granted. We're going to find our hands in front of us. We're going to find our legs behind us. Pushing in through the tops of the feet behind us, you'll notice the knees lift. So try to have that little bit of lift in the feet. Hands in front of us, we're going to really glue the hands just in front of our face, about width with our shoulders, and then we're going to lift up to our forearms. And now your shoulders are going to be shrugged here, just in a natural set. Roll the shoulders back and reach that crown of the head forward. As you do so, simultaneously, pull forward. And you can pull forward with hands closed, it's okay. Our idea is that the forearms are gluing because the forearms are connected to the hands. So as we pull back through the forearms, you feel that length. Maybe you feel the lengthen through the belly. Breathe. You want to just relax the head in line with the spine, you can. If you do look forward, that's acceptable, but keep those shoulders back and breathe through the belly. Full breaths 2. Full breath 1. Nice. Coming down, we're going to keep arms long beside us. We're going to keep one hand down all the way, forearm to the shoulder. The other hand is going to come up by our shoulder. And we're going to very gently push the chest up and over. Try to keep the arm in line with the shoulder and the chest. Try not to have the arm slide down, but keep it out long. And imagine what the shoulder feels like. The hand does not matter as much as the shoulder matters. Breathing here, beautiful. You're right where you need to be. Yeah. Breathe into the chest and let the shoulder relax. Maybe even ear falls down to the ground. This is not a forced form. It is something that we are guiding with that pushing down hand, but it should be gentle. Very gently releasing back down. You can make this a much deeper stretch by forcing it. As we take chest back down, opposite arm is going to come out long. And again, we're trying to keep that arm in line with our shoulder, out long. And then other hand comes by our chest and just gently lifts the chest. It's all about that shoulder, because if the shoulder is moving where it needs to, then the arm benefits, the chest benefits, the neck benefits. The arm naturally wants to slide down. That's okay. You can always roll back out, readjust the arm if you feel that. And again, just breathe into that gentle rotation. Opposite leg may even help the body up. Deeper forms of this would be extending the arm that is supporting us up and actually reaching back behind us. These deeper forms, again, if they feel forced, we do want effort, but we don't want strain. The breath should be guiding you. Breathe 2. One more good, loving, appreciative breath as we come back down. Beautiful. Last lovely little arm stretch here. We're going to bring those hands back in front of us, pushing up through the forearms. We're going to replace one forearm more towards the center of our body. Does not matter which one to start. Opposite arm is going to slide along the chest underneath as though we're threading it through this beautiful needle. Maybe it stays up. Most importantly here, we do not want the chest to twist. We want to keep the chest in line with the ground as we very gently walk the hands away from that center of the body, coming down. When you start to feel the chest moving, that's where we want to stay. You can even drop the head, chin down to that arm. Breathe here. Lovely little dolphin stretches. Beautiful dorsals. Maybe 2 more breaths. Very gently pushing down with that forearm in front of us to raise us up as we remove that arm that we've threaded. Maybe just inch by inch, replace the forearm. And again, that pressure is more elbow to wrist. Hand is nice, but if we push too much in the hand, we might lift the shoulder. So it's the full foundation of the arm that's holding us up here. Thread the opposite arm along the chest. When I first did this, I was always moving my arm down below me, and I wasn't getting that nice full open rotator here. Gazing forward as we very gently move the hands away, keeping those chests in line. This is what I get for doing all those meat hooks. Breathing here, settling down where it feels good, keeping the shoulders in horizon to the floor. Breathing. Maybe chin settles down. Oh, my arms are so happy with this one. Yay. Find your breath. Listen to your body. Where is your breath going? Maybe 2 more. Maybe 1 more. Very gently pushing into that forearm in front of us so that we can raise back up. Unthreading the arms. We're going to very gently take one last
strengthening pose here. Arms are going to come out in front of us. Legs are going to come behind us. And if you can, glue your knees and your feet together. We're not going to do a whole bunch of these. We're just going to lift the hands on an in-breath if you can, just a little. You don't have to go all the way up. This is more of a lengthening. Just look a couple inches in front of your nose. You don't have to look all the way forward. Breathe out, drop back down. Those legs that are glued together, if they come apart a little on this next round, that's okay, but push through the forearms. Make sure that the chest is engaged, and very gently breathe up the feet and the knees. I'm not looking for height here, I'm looking for length. Point those toes back. Maybe you're even kissing the mat, it's okay. Breathe back down, out. Last one, we're going to do both together. We're lengthening again, we're not. Strength comes natural here, but lengthen from fingertips to toes on an in-breath. Both come up. Normally in locust pose, people are always trying to get really high, and that is one idea of strength, but here, length is what we want. Don't feel you have to look all the way forward. Just a couple inches in front of your nose is enough. Maybe you can feel your toes and your fingers twiddle. Breathe 2. Breathe 1 and drop back down. We're going to roll around to our backs. And if you want to, you can take knees to chest. Give them a little hug. Nice. And just making sure everyone has a block nearby them for this next piece. I'm going to go into bridge, but bridge is supported. I love ending with this pose. We're going to keep our feet near our tailbone. Our feet are going to be about hip distance. Our knees are going to be the same distance. If knees happen to move in or out a little, it's not the end of the world. Just make sure that you can stay active in your feet. Lift your toes, put them back down. From big toe to pinky toe to heel, your feet are engaged. Hands are going to come beside you on the floor, reaching down long, and again, fingertip up to shoulder. The most pressure you'll probably feel in your forearm, and that's okay. But you want the full arm engaged because then our spine is soft. Knowing that block is nearby us, you might use low setting, you might use medium setting. I don't know if anyone here is going to use high setting, but if you do, good for you. So having that block ready beside us, we're going to engage in the arms, we're going to engage in the feet, and we're going to lift the tailbone up in one breath. Keep that tailbone lifted, breathe out. On your next in-breath, continue up through the sacral, that lower spine. Maybe we lift the full spine up entirely. No pressure on the head or neck. As long as feet are active and arms are active, the spine is soft. When that spine is up as comfortably as we can get it, we're going to take the block and just place it right underneath our sacral space, just above the tailbone, bottom of the spine, and we're going to lower our hips down onto it. This does not mean that we are not active in our arms or our feet still. We want our feet hip distance, we want our knees hip distance, we want our arms pressing down so that our neck and head are soft, but we're going to breathe upward into that pelvic floor. Lift the belly naturally with the breath. Feel the chest open. Flow through your breath. And again, if that medium setting is too much here, you can always go down to that lower setting. The goal here is to relax the effort in the spine, but to still be lifting through the breath. This This is an open hip posture that is very gentle with that support, especially lower back pain. You might feel a little bit of loosening or sensations that you haven't felt in a while. Hanging out here for at least 3 more breaths. 2 more. 1 more. Gently lifting the hips, pulling that block out, and rolling the spine down. Rolling it down so that the last part to touch is that lower spine. Taking knees to chest, holding the knees in, big breath. Setting the feet back down, maybe windshield wiper side to side. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to settle into Shavasana here. So whether you want a little happy baby, whether you want a little movement, your choice. When you're ready, legs go long, arms beside you. Relax into your breath. If you'd like to, close your eyes. In honor of the duality that we experience in this form, the breath coming and the breath going, being full and being empty. We are the experiencer of that duality in our purest form, the Satnam, the eternal truth. Closing out this class, I'd like to offer the mantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Outside of you, there is a breath with joy and appreciation. Welcome in that breath, feeling the sensation in the tips of your fingers and your toes. Gentle form, awareness, the anima. On your next breath, that sensation from fingers through the hand, through the arms to the body, feet to the legs to the body, the connectedness, the animus. Breathing in deeper, maybe hugging knees into chest or arms overhead, long. Feeling the entire form, the observation of your sacred location, your existence here and now. The anima or animus low-key. Very gently rolling on one arm, using your bicep as a pillow, maybe around through tabletop. Head heavy. Head is the last part of the body that comes up as we stack the spine, rightfully so, that spine, the staff, that head, that beautiful dervish,
swirling in all those five senses, the five tattvas. Closing out this class in honor of your ability to create and to be in the creation, observing the creation as the creator. We'll offer the mantra Om. You are welcome to join in or simply listen with your mind's eye. Breathing in entirely, breathing out completely. Breathing in. Shanti, 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 peace, peace, peace. Namaste. Thank you for sharing in such a beautiful practice. Mahalo. It was such a pleasure